recording this, and Pastor Keith, we're going to have him beatbox a little bit about Right Now Media to get y'all excited about Right Now Media. That was actually his request. He said he would share it if he could beatbox it up. So I'm all for that. I think everybody's going to get a little break from hearing us talk. Okay, let's pray and get started. Realize the way that we do missions so that we can expand and grow. So we went from 8 to 10 trips in 2008 to 27 trips in 2009. And we did that because we went from a missions pastor to lay leaders, like I was saying, and we decided we just need to train and equip. There's people out there that are going to lead. We need to train and equip and get them ready, and we can expand. And really the sky is the limit for a church like ours, where we have people who are willing to serve at any chance they can get. And so we grew missions that year, and then over time our department grew. So Andrea King came along, started helping to administrate our trips. This is Andrea at the end. And she helped to make sure that all of the airfare was purchased and all of the trips knew where they were financially, and all of the logistics Andrea helped to support. And then in 2011, I was asked to take over outreach as well. And what's really cool about this is that our department is now missions and outreach. And so what that means is we hope to bridge that gap between what we do globally and what we do locally. And we want to make sure that we are living out the Great Commission where we live, right here in our backyard, as well as around the world. And so with that, we knew we needed a missions coordinator. So Debbie Hield came on board as our missions coordinator. So she is our leader of leaders. She's the one who equips, who meets with you guys, who makes sure you are leading at the level you need to be leading at. She's working with our partners, our organizations, our church campuses. What's also really cool about Debbie's background is that she has helped to pastor the St. John's campus with her husband. So she has that eye for what a campus needs, and it's been a big lift to have her working with our global campuses and understanding what campuses need. And so our leaders work really close with Debbie now. And so I'm still involved with missions, but just in a different way. And you'll hear me talk a little bit more about local and what we're doing locally, so that I'll share a little bit more of that vision and how we're trying to bridge that gap. But I just wanted to help y'all understand that we're a team. So many times people are like, I don't know who to go to what, and they just send an email to like 10 different people and just are confused on who does what. So I hope that helps make sense, and as we share from our different areas, that'll help make sense on who you go to for what and how we as a team operate. So that's our team. A little vision for missions and why we do what we do. You've probably heard us talk a lot about the three key, well, if you've been to membership or you've been in these meetings before, then you would have heard us talk a lot about this. If you haven't, that's okay. The three things that we really focus on missions trips is sharing the gospel. We wouldn't be going around the world if we didn't believe that we needed to share the good news with people who hadn't heard it. So we want to, and this could take a different shape or form in every trip. So it might be somebody on the airplane, or it might be somebody that you meet on your free day and you're shopping and you run into somebody in the mall and you share the gospel, you share about your story with them. It might be a service that your team puts on and you actually share the gospel and people raise their hands and get saved. Or it might be community prayer walks in Costa Rica where you're walking through the community and you pray with people. So sharing the gospel can take on many different forms, and we just want to encourage you to be led and be ready and know that God wants to move and he wants to share the good news through you, because there's people out there that have not heard it. They don't know that there's a God that wants relationship with them, and he provided his son to reconcile them back to him. And they don't know what that means. They don't know the hope that they have in Jesus. And we want to make sure all of our trips are doing that when they go overseas and in the United States. We also want to meet physical needs. So when Jesus was on earth, that's what he did. He touched, he healed, he fed. He met people where they were at, and we don't believe that we should be sharing a message without meeting their physical needs. And so this, again, takes on many different forms. Some of our teams are specific to physical needs, like our medical trips, and the whole week, that's all they're doing. They're focused on meeting people's physical needs. Or you might have a team that one day hands out food to families in need, and that's one of their focuses. So it may not, again, look different, but across the board, we have this as a goal. Third, we want to build up the local church. So most of what's really awesome about the opportunity we have as a church is that we are a global multi-site church. So we have campuses where we have long-term ministry. Some of the hardest things that I have ever experienced on the mission field was leaving people that you ministered to, and you saw them got saved, and you saw them get healed, and then you don't know who is there to follow up with them, and you don't know what long-term ministry is happening. And so one of the best feelings in going to our campuses is knowing that there's long-term ministry happening after our short-term trip leaves. And so it's really a beautiful thing. It's what our early church did. They took trips, and they were catalysts for other church groups in their short-term trips. So this is not a new phenomenon. It happened back in the early church. And we believe we should be doing this. So some of our trips aren't connected with one of our campuses, but that's okay. We still are connected with partners, and we believe long-term ministry is happening. If you guys want to look here on your leader manual. Do y'all like your new leader manual? You may not know what it used to be, but Debbie Hill did a great job pulling this together this year. It was a labor of love, as she would describe it. It used to be a binder, and then some of our leaders requested, hey, can it be like a notebook so we can actually take it with us and not have this huge binder? And we were like, great idea. So Debbie pulled it together and was the master at it this year. So everybody got one, page 5. Okay, so these are 3 types of trips, just to kind of put some language for you guys on what type of trips we send. So some of our trips are community development. These are our Haiti trips, our Dream Center trips. If we're focusing on a community, we want to see this community developed. We're focusing on something particular, like in Haiti, we were doing a ton of relief work ever since the earthquake in 2010 or 2011. 2011, yeah, 2011. So, and then the Dream Centers that we've gone to, LA, Baton Rouge, even that we're in connection with, those are going to be focused on community development. Then we'll also have community development and church strengthening. So this is where we're going to be doing some community work, like in Costa Rica, we'll be handing out food and doing, possibly some building or construction, but we're also going to be strengthening our church. Every chance we get, we'll do something where we're helping the local church. And then third, church planning. So what church planning means, and the reason why we need to explain this is because, for example, when we go to Northern Ireland, this church has been launched already. It's up and running. You're not starting a new church. We don't mean to imply that by church planning, but everything we're doing is focusing on helping this church. It's a new church. You're trying to help continue to instill vision and DNA and just, some real life ministry experience for our church there. And so what will happen is our team members will have a little bit of an extra requirement to go on these types of trips, because how are you going to go teach somebody about serving when you're not serving consistently here on stateside? So you'll see in some of these, and Debbie might go into a little bit more detail, but there might be more requirements for our team members. Most of our trips, we want as many people as possible to go to the mission field. Like, our job is to support and to help as many people as possible. We don't have a lot of hurdles to jump through. There is a commitment involved, because when you say you're going to go, we want you to commit, and there's a deposit you have to pay and an application you have to fill out and all that, but we make it very easy, and Debbie might even get into some more specifics about non-church members and out-of-state people who want to go. We want as many people on the mission field as possible. So the only time that we have extra requirements is for these church planning types of trips, because if we're going to go build up a specific church and they have specific needs, we want to make sure our team members are doing that themselves and have some experience. So other places like that would be Greece. We have been working to help them launch their church plant. It's called Zoe Church. It's in Thessaloniki, Greece. It is in partnership with A21. And so A21 really wanted to make sure that when they're rescuing girls, they have a place, a local church, a life-giving local church where they can send the girls and be rehabilitated spiritually. And so that was one of their big goals, is let's have a life-giving church in Thessaloniki. And so over the past year, not even quite, it hasn't even been a year. It feels like it, but no, just a few months. So we've been helping to send some resources and some people, do some equipping, and this year we're going to be sending a team, led by Sissy Griffiths. Yay, Sis! She just did an internship with A21 for 3 months. So anyway, those are examples of church planning trips. All right. I think that's all for my part. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so Debs is going to take it over and go over leadership